right at the Money Show in Orlando. With me today, Mr. Omar Ayales, goldchartsrus.net.
That's right.
Beautiful, I got it right. This man's forgotten more about gold than most of us have ever known. You should go to his site and check it out. So, Omar, inflation, as you and I were taught, doesn't really exist anymore. Or does it?
Well, this is such a good topic of conversation. It's probably going to last a few more than a couple minutes, but...
Okay, go ahead.
Look, if you actually, inflation actually is going to, I believe, is going to start making a comeback in a big way.
Okay.
I do believe that we're actually at the onset of an inflationary boom that could last decades.
Why?
Okay, the reason is this. Basically, if you go back to when gold and interest rates peaked back in the early 80s, 1980, 1981, and you go even back further than that,
right,
you actually see that gold tends to move with actual rates, in as much rates move with inflation. The fact that gold has been moving with bonds is more a recent occurrence due to uncertainty and a safe haven demand.
So you're saying that the price of gold is correlated with the price of bonds or the yield of bonds?
Not necessarily. It is correlated in a sense, maybe not exactly. In this world, there's no absolutes or indefinites.
No, it's
but
true.
But I do believe that whenever interest rates have risen because they are basically tracking inflation, gold has tended to perform.
Right.
Now, if you see from the 1981 peak, in gold,
right, gold did this.
Gold did this, right? And then interest rates
did this. Yeah.
If you actually see what drove interest rates to those highs in 1981 was just excessive inflation, and the rise in rates, was actually due to subdue that. Was done to subdue that inflation, and then something else happened. Central banks around the world and policymakers started ingraining policy that was geared towards taming inflation. So we have seen that decline in inflation through all those years, up to today, and the fact that
now central bankers are trying to
spur inflation.
I know.
You see, for example, negative interest rates, to me, is an extreme of this bull market in bonds that had started in the 1981.
Right.
Okay, now what we're about to see, I think, is we're going to start seeing an inflationary boom. How so? Central banks with more accommodative policies and monetary policy, but then we're going to start seeing fiscal policy also. I think we're going to start seeing these measures that were put into the system to tame inflation are going to start. We're going to peeling off this onion. We're going to start taking these different policies away, and it's going to open the door for a stronger inflation process. Okay,
so the rising wages, that's usually been one source of rising inflation. I was going to say rising energy prices, but price of oil it's been going down.
And resources.
I mean, oil is getting pretty close to $50 a barrel, so... but I did see that the other day in the American employment report that wages did rise 3.1%. That's a pretty big jump.
Absolutely.
In a short amount of time.
And if you see, for example, the price of energy, there are different things that actually move this price also. It's also like a manipulated market.
Of course.
And if you see, for example, inflation tendencies over the past 40 years and the price movement of oil, they have not always moved together.
Okay.
Even though they tend to, of course.
Of course.
Because of, again, there's supply disruptions, there's different things that go on. But to that effect and what's so interesting is because bond markets tend to move in secular phases of 30, 40 years. The last time we had from that peak to this low on negative interest rates, it's been about 40 years. Okay. So from a time perspective, from also what I'm seeing, what central banks are doing, from a policy, what's happening in the U.S. and probably is going to be copied, like in the way of policies that spur business, and, that ultimately spur inflation. I think are going to be ingrained, they're going to be implemented, and I think this is going to be, basically the bedrock for this rise of inflation over the next 20 or 30 years. Now, mind you, of course, it's a long trend. But that means interest rates are going to rise for the next 20, 30 years. Even though right now, sentiment is for rates is to the downside. We are actually long bonds right now because it's a question of timing also.
Sure. You heard it here first, folks. You need to go to goldchartsrus.net. read about Omar's work and what he's telling you to help you protect your portfolio. But for now, thank you for joining us today at the Money Show.